Hey, everybody. I believe we're live. This is Laura Eisenhower. I'm here with a really dear friend, somebody that I've interviewed a few times. And there's always more information to share. And it's definitely a timing thing as far as when certain information can actually come out. So we're going to kind of get to the next level of information that she's ready and willing to expose, on top of the fact that she's going to come out with a second book. And I'm going to read a bit about her bio here in just a second, but I just want to thank you so much, Laura Worley, for being with me today.
Thanks for having me, Laura.
Oh, it's always wonderful to have you. My goodness. And I mean, if you guys just look at the title, I mean, exposing the hidden army of New World Order, the hidden New World Order army. We're going to touch upon what that means and what that looks like. And there's so many different levels to, this war, the war on the physical with bioweapons, and the war on the mind, and the war on consciousness. But this is going to help us to understand one of the heaviest and deepest level of weaponization that we're dealing with. And we'll ask a few questions about it. Because I have to deal with being careful of censorship, we're going to air a much more in-depth version of this interview on conscious vitality. You can find the link in the description. And we're going to go more in depth about this topic. Right now, we're just going to kind of do a summary. And Conscious Vitality is $9.99 a month, but you can have a 7-day free trial to access interviews that you might want to see without subscribing. And without having a subscription, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. I know it's frustrating for some people, but I feel like it's a reasonable price anyway, for just doing this pretty much full time. So that will air 7 p.m. Mountain Time on Thursday, the more in-depth interview about this topic. So I'm going to say a few words about her, and then I'm going to hand it over to her. And I'm going to put in the description a lot more than what I'm going to share as far as the bio is concerned, and get into the description of her book. So find that in the description. I'll also pin it as a comment. Okay, so Laura Worley is a speaker, trainer, coach, and author. She has successfully helped thousands of people around the world address issues stemming from complex trauma and ritual abuse. Laura trains both clients and caring professionals in unique and powerful techniques that help survivors transform their lives. As the creator of the Worldwide Transformational Summit, she has interviewed over 85 of the top global authors and motivational speakers in the field of transforming lives. Laura wrote the book Puzzle Pieces to the Cabal, Mind Control, and Slavery, based on her own experiences as a survivor of ritual abuse. And so she's got quite a story. And the fact that she is assisting so many people in overcoming similar to what she's gone through, on top of just like the targeting that just we as a human race are going through. It's such an incredible mission and service to humanity. And what a blessing you are, and this information you're bringing forward. So take us into this topic and what this sort of means. And from what I've come to understand, this has to do with the grooming and MK Ultra mind control projects and programs, starting from infancy and people's youth, to train them as an army that is going to be activated in the here and now. Or do I have that correct?
That is very correct. Yes, it is. It will actually go a little bit past that. And that's kind of what I want to share with people. They've also been able to do certain things with the military to have them ready for when this is to be activated. There will also, unfortunately, be those who have microchips and like certain things that they've placed, like in the nanobots and that kind of thing. They will be able to activate those too for the Army. So the best thing to do is just to start off, why in the world would I be talking about this right now? For a long time, I have put this basically to the side and didn't feel, honestly, it was very, needed to get out there and share. And as in the last 2 years, because of everything that happened, more and more people began to be, I guess, activated, their mind control programming breaking down, and they're really seeing, there's something wrong. But it goes a little bit further. I did not know this, but I have recently found this out in the last several years, is a lot of people that had the mind control programming for the New World Order in MK Ultra was kind of dormant. But they, in the last 7 years, began to bring people back and reprogram this for what really needed to happen specifically. So that's kind of what I'm trying to share in stages, because I feel like if I go too far, I could get in deep trouble. But I feel like because we're in this situation, I could not live with myself if I don't. So it's kind of where I'm at.
So when you, I mean, and it does go much deeper, because I mean, there's the projects, the programs that involve not just the mind control, but the satanic ritual abuse. But then, like you said, I mean, we've been breathing in chemtrails and the, you know what, delivers things into our system to the point where that sort of mind control it goes beyond the programs and projects and like Project Mockingbird, through the media, through the indoctrination programs, through the grooming of, you know, young generations to be willing to accept these narratives in the here and now. So can you talk to us a little bit about that? I mean, you kind of already did, but am I correct in saying that it's not just this maybe sleeper agents, one might call it, where they're going to be activated, and if they might start to seem like they might break the programming, they reprogram, or there's the suicide programming or ways to eliminate individuals. But I mean, this is like on such a vast scale. There's the concentrated version and then sort of the targeting of the whole human race. Go ahead.
Well, okay. So one thing I would like, I hear certain people say, well, you know, they have this army and it's going to be, you know, activated. That is such a small information sentence, because this is not only, we're talking about millions all over the world. Okay. Millions. This is their army to bring in the New World Order, what they're trying to do right now to us. People have been extremely organized in their programming. And I want you to think about this. People being brought back that thought they were free. And all of a sudden, they are being brought back. And this thing that was dormant is now they're reprogramming, not from the past, but to go along with what's going on right now. This started with HC when they thought she was going to be a president. So a lot of the MK Ultra was brought back to get ready for her presidency. So now you have millions of people who are very on target to 7 stages of the New World Order coming in. These are signals. So when they see the signal, so let's just say the MK Ultra, they have their mind control programming of this program. So they're going to see signals. And so when a certain thing happens, that is signal 1. Then the next thing that happens is signal 2. Well, I knew when Biden was trying to start a war, they were going to do it, because that's part of the second signal. Well, let's don't go for second. We'll just say signal in bringing in the New World Order.
You're talking about like a code that gets activated. So when a particular narrative is being steered, all of a sudden an individual is being activated to play a particular role that looks on the surface to be maybe benevolent, but really, I mean, like you can like help us to understand, like, what does it look like once they're activated? Like what kind of individuals are we dealing with? Like world leaders, like politicians, or but if I cut you off from the last thought that you were finishing, just go there.
So let's just say that you had a plan, and this plan was in stages, and then everybody's given a job from the highest to the lowest. So in stage 1, it'd be like people like Antifa are being activated. Okay, those are low stage people in the program. Second stage is a signal war. War will be part of bringing in the New World Order. That was in my programming. Okay.
But when you say war, you're talking about physical war, like
physical
Russia,
war,
Ukraine stuff, kind of.
They didn't. So in the program, they didn't go specific. It's just that when a war started, that is signal 2. At least this is in my program, so I don't want you to get stuck on number 2. So then after that's done, then we go to the next stage and the next signal. I can only share what I have. It doesn't mean it didn't change, but I believe because of my programming, we will have a physical attack in the United States. That is part of the programming that MK Ultra received. I received information that the Chinese would be taking over the US. When the New World Order, when the United States is kind of taken over, okay, and they have everything in place with the new leaders, and they feel the New World Order is where they need it to bring it in fully, Then we go to the next stage. So each stage, a program person has a job, and they have been assigned a signal. They have been assigned what your job is in each stage. The final stage to bringing it in, not the final stage, but the final stage of bringing it in will be, I hate to say this, but this is what's going to happen, is most people that are programmed and the military that have this, and they can also use people that have the, you know what, because they have certain things in their body, frequencies can be sent that people will either be killer or they will kill themselves.
Is this streamed through the 5G and the technologies in the satellite?
I don't know about the 5G. I can just tell you
right.
they're sending
Keep going. Yeah.
They're sending the frequencies. So let's go to the military for a minute. Let's say military, they don't have what I have, but I want to tell you that many do. Now, let's say they don't. They too have had a little bit of mind control programming, a little brainwashing. When they give them the shots, they put a microchip in them, okay? Frequencies are sent to that microchip. They can make them angry as hell, and they will be obedient to any command they've been given, which they will already know. Some will know and some will not what their job is. But if you are a military man, I'm just making up a story, okay? You're a military man, they turn on the frequencies. So you become super angry, super violent, and then you get your order. Go round up these people and kill them. They're going to do it because they're no longer themselves.
Okay. So when we like see people though, like Trudeau and people that are in these kind of leadership positions, are they sort of like the tip of the kind of army where everybody else is sort of like doing the work on behalf of the orders of those, even though they have somebody behind them, but it's all connected as far as who has what position, where you got certain like levels of this army, and then you have like the minions kind of running around doing the cleanup job that they want, but you have people in place like Trudeau, right, that is playing a part.
Every world leader that you see doing things that are you don't make sense and they're following the New World Order is because I knew Trudeau was not going to give in, and I'll tell you why. Because if he gave in, he would be killed. He would be punished for not doing his job, right? His job is to follow the orders, and he was not going to give in. And so I want you to know that every world leader has their jobs, what they have to do. And even if the people do everything they do, the protesting and stuff, that person won't give in because they have an order. And if they don't do it, they'll be punished just like us. So everybody has a job from the top to the bottom. You've been assigned. So now let me share something with you. It's not a one fit plan. They've made several. Okay. And so let's say the program person has to call in, or they will have somebody. So somebody is always connected to somebody. Okay. So you will always be connected to one person. That person connects to somebody all the way to the top, and you get the orders. Because what if a certain scenario didn't happen the way they planned? They give the new order, and that's, brought down to everyone. And then they know that the new plan is such and such. So they've made it really powerful where no matter what happens, they have another plan for it. And then they have another way to get it to everybody.
And obviously the pandemic is woven into all of this with sort of the army
That's
stuff.
Stage one.
But because when you're saying stage one, stage two, the pandemic was stage one?
It was the beginning. I can't say that I was specifically told the word that, but that it was the beginning.
Connected. It's all connected. So people must be very curious. We're going to go more in depth, and we're probably going to close this in just a little bit because we're going to dig a lot deeper. I'm sure a lot of people are curious that if you were in these programs and projects and endured all this, that, like you said, when a person thinks they're free and they bring them back in and program them, people are probably curious, like, how in the world were you able to not be one of those people? Can you maybe just share a few words, and we'll go a little bit more in depth in the next interview for Thursday?
We can. There's part of what I'm going to be saying in 3 weeks is about all that. It's going to be specifically about that.
Time is not right for that.
The time today, I will let you know, is, I'm very careful, and I go on the timeline that I feel like God is telling me because of what could be done. But I honestly feel in the next 3 weeks, I will be sharing people specifics of what has been done to the mind control person under any real program. I will be very specific, because I feel what I'm trying to do right now is, if you feel you are been in the military and something doesn't feel right to you, or something in your body doesn't feel right, trust that, because there's a strong possibility you can have microchips, or you can have this programming. And I would say to every single person who's ever been in any governmental program or Illuminati or any of that, there's no way you don't have the Army programming, what I call Army programming. And I would highly suggest, if you can find somebody that's a professional, or however you can do it. I'm going to go into some other ways about that, but to find out if you have it and if you can stop it, because you think you don't, or it happened so long ago, and very likely that's not true.
Gotcha. Okay, well, we're gonna go more in depth, and in a couple of weeks you'll be able to help us to understand how you've been able to see and observe all of this, and not be, somebody that was able to be, pulled back in. And we'll go more in depth when you're ready. And I'm always here to be able to, interview you about it. And there was one more kind of point that I wanted to leave on before we record the longer interview for Thursday. I never like to share this kind of information without something positive to leave people with, and kind of help us to see, like, because you have a really, really profound and strong connection, with God source and Christ energy. And this is really what's been guiding you and helping you to write these books and feel into the timing of everything. What are you feeling intuitively? What are you kind of like getting as far as the capability of humanity and what we have within ourselves to overcome and win this war, this new world order war?
If you just looked at everything from the outside, you'd say there's no way we're going to, but I just have a knowing, a feeling inside that we are absolutely going to do this. I believe all this information would not come out for nothing. It's never been allowed out ever to this degree. So for the whole world to know about secret societies and what they're doing and what they do to kids, never has this been brought out in this world way. So I have a lot of hope we are going to overcome them. I do feel we still have some hard things to go through, but I feel ultimately we will.
Awesome. And do you a lot of obviously Hollywood people who might be pushing the narratives, I mean, are they just as threatened, or are they not realizing they're going along with something? It's probably a mixed bag, actually, right? Like,
yeah,
you don't know necessarily who's who. Some are fully in the know, some might be threatened or blackmailed, and some just maybe are just going along with it to be able to maintain that celebrity status. I mean,
I think a lot of them are actually under the MK Ultra programming anyway. So,
yeah. Well, yeah, totally. Right.
So a lot of them may not even consciously know they're a part of it. Others at some point make that decision. And some are blackmailed, just like the politicians. So
totally.
And the businessmen. Let's don't forget them.
Right.
And the church leaders.
Right. I mean, it comes down to the local level, because with Allie Carter, who was recently interviewed by a few people like Stu Peters, and she was a victim to all this trafficking, and she talked about the tunnel system beneath like Getty Museum and stuff like that, and the people that she was meeting along the way, and some were very kind of cocky and like and just all the kind of ritualistic stuff that goes on. I'm kind of losing my train of thought here, but something.
Well, you know what? Along that thought is, I want people to know something really quickly. From my point of view, we are in a time of great miracles of knowledge. So back in the 90s, when I remembered these things, but I didn't, it was like a 20-year, 25-year, and probably I would start remembering and keep remembering all these things. It was never allowed to be talked to. You couldn't even, anybody I told thought I was crazy. This didn't happen. If you went to a therapist, they would say, well, first of all, they didn't know how to help you. Second of all, a lot of them were instructed by the Illuminati to put them into a mental hospital, call them, schizophrenic and all this crap. So, and to be in the stage that we're at in the world, knowing this, even just you saying publicly right now what you just said is a miracle, because that was never allowed 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So I want people to know, just like in the last, in my knowledge, 3 years, but you've been talking about it for a long time, to speak openly on YouTube about what they do in private takes away their power. That their biggest power comes from secrecy.
Yeah. Even though I'm probably only going to keep this video up for a couple of days, I just really want to encourage people to go to these censorship-free platforms where we can really dig way deeper, and there's nothing that we can't share, and it's something that's archived, and you can always have the replay. So let's switch gears and move over to getting that together. And I hope you guys tune in Thursday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, to check out the more in-depth version of this interview. I'll keep this one up for a couple days. And I also want to encourage people to sign up for my webinar on March 19th. It'll be 3 hours long. 2 hours is a presentation, with the final hour being questions and answers. And I go real in depth about like how to overcome this stuff on a micro level in our everyday lives, because we're all being blasted. We're all being targeted, the bioweapons, and like how it's manifesting in our bodies and our thought forms and our emotions. It's really geared towards that. And a lot of the different information that I've pulled together from folks like Laura Worley, and also a senior advisor to the Earth Alliance, that is giving disclosure information that has never been revealed or heard before. And I highly recommend you guys sign up for that. I'm sorry, I just had to say that. I'll put that also in the description, you guys. And yeah, join us on Thursday. And Laura, thank you so much. And I'll send you a link for recording the second part. And thanks everybody for tuning in. And I'll see you in just a couple of minutes, Laura.
Okay, see you later.
Okay, bye.